Have you ever wondered whether people can truly become wealthy anywhere they would find themselves in the world, using the same mindset and the same principles? Apparently, no satisfying answers haven't been found yet. Some believe wealth is geographical, others believe it's political, many believe it's cultural or inherited, or reserved for a lucky few born in the right countries. And yet, when we look carefully, not emotionally, but truthfully, we discover something freeing, something empowering that brings more insights in this way. Wealth doesn't respond to geography, it responds to principles. Let me start breaking this down in a fascinating story. In a quiet village in Ghana, a young man named Kojo began selling phone accessories from a small wooden table. No shop, no employees, no capital. Across the world, in South Korea, a young woman named Hee-won began making handmade candles in her apartment. No brand recognition, no investors, no guarantees. Different continents, different cultures, different systems. Same beginning, small. Same posture, faithful. Kojo showed up every day. He learned what people needed. He treated customers with honesty. He reinvested instead of consuming. Hee-won did the same. She refined her craft. She studied quality. She learned marketing. She stayed consistent when no one was watching. Years passed. Kojo grew up from a table to a shop, from a shop to a business, and eventually employed over a dozen people. Hee-won's candle business crossed the borders through e-commerce and became an international brand. Different places, same result. Why? Because wealth doesn't recognize location. It recognizes obedience. This is one of the most misunderstood truths about prosperity. People say, if only I lived in another country, if only I had better systems, if only I had access. But scripture reveals something deeper. Isaac sowed in Gerar during a famine and reaped 100-fold. Not because Gerar was ideal, not because the economy was strong, but because obedience activates blessing. The question isn't where you are. The question is what you're doing with where you are. Wealth has no nationality. Yes, environments matter. Systems matter. Infrastructure matters. But they reduce friction. They don't create fruit. Some countries offer structure but they lack resilience. Others lack structure but overflow with creativity. True wealth emerges where mindset bridges both. We need to understand that systems create convenience, whereas mindsets create multiplication. This is why we see the paradox. In developed countries, many have access to financial tools, yet live buried under debt. In developing countries, many lack access, yet build thriving and formal economies through resilience. Each environment has advantages, each has limitations. The wealthy mindset doesn't complain about either. It learns both. Joseph prospered in Egypt not because Egypt was easy, but because he learned how to operate within its system without losing his identity. He understood the culture, he respected authority, he applied divine wisdom, and God elevated him not in spite of the system, but through it. So wherever you live, you must learn the rules of the land, and then rise above them through revelation. This brings us to a powerful law, the law of adaptation. Adaptation is the bridge between principle and prosperity. Principles are universal. Application is cultural. You can't sell snow boots in the Caribbean. You can't sell coconuts as survival goods in Switzerland. But you can apply the same principles of value creation, diligence, and stewardship anywhere. Paul said, "I've become all things to all people." This is not compromise. It's adaptability. A wealthy mindset studies culture, it respects context, it adjusts methods, not mission. When I migrated to Canada, I learned this firsthand. I didn't bring wealth with me, but I brought discipline, I brought faith, I brought humility and the willingness to learn. That mindset traveled better than money. It opened doors, it attracted mentors, it created opportunity. Mindset crosses borders more easily than capital ever will. Now let's talk about culture. Each culture expresses wealth differently, but stewardship remains the foundation. In many African cultures, wealth is collective: land, livestock, family honor, legacy. Aliko Dangote didn't build wealth by copying Silicon Valley. He produced necessities. He solved local problems with global discipline. In Asian societies, wealth reflects order and long-term thinking. Samsung didn't grow by shortcuts, but by relentless improvement and discipline. In Latin America and the Caribbean, wealth often grows through resilience and faith. In Haiti, I've seen people start with almost nothing and sustain entire families through creativity, persistence, and community. In Western nations, wealth often flows through innovation and risk-taking. But without discipline, many remain trapped despite opportunity. Different expressions, same foundation. Vision, discipline, faith, stewardship. God never designed prosperity to look the same anywhere. His principles are universal. His blessings are personal. Now let's go deeper. God's covenant has always been global. When God spoke to Abraham, he said, "All nations of the earth will be blessed through you." That means blessings travels. Wherever obedience exists, heaven responds. Daniel prospered in Babylon, Joseph flourished in Egypt, Paul lacked nothing while traveling hostile territories. Why? Because they lived under divine economy, not earthly limitations. And he is the common denominator in every wealthy life: service. Wealth isn't about accumulation, it's about contribution. Those who rise are those who serve well. Jesus said, "The greatest among you will be your servant." That principle works anywhere, in villages, corporations, digital platforms, and global markets. Today, technology has accelerated this truth. A designer in Kenya can sell globally, a content creator in Haiti can inspire millions, an entrepreneur in India can serve users worldwide. Technology democratizes access, but mindset determines mastery. Skill travels at the speed of the internet, but discipline sustains what technology amplifies. And here's the final revelation. Wealth isn't physical geography, it's spiritual geography. The wealthy live in the same physical world as everyone else, but they inhabit a different inner world. Psalm 1 says, "Whatever he does shall prosper." Not where he does it, whatever he does. Prosperity follows rootedness, faith, and discipline. When I stopped chasing places, I started cultivating God's presence. Provision followed. Because where God's presence is honored, His provision flows. Every culture contributes something to wealth, but true wealth blends discipline, resilience, innovation, and faith. Wealth is both personal and collective. It's meant to bless families, communities, and generations. So hear this clearly. Wealth isn't where you go, it's what you grow. And wherever you honor God, He blesses the work of your hands. True wealth is borderless, because God's kingdom has no borders. The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it. Psalm 24 verse 1. If the whole earth belongs to God, then there's no poor country, only underdeveloped mindsets. The same sun shines everywhere. The same laws govern every harvest. So, wherever you may find yourself today, know that God has placed you there. It doesn't matter whether you're in a developed country, a developing country, or in an underdeveloped country. What matters is that God has positioned you there. Your new position is not your limitation. It's God giving you new direction for a higher elevation. So trust in the Lord and grow what you have where you are with faith, diligence, obedience, and stewardship. There's no doubt about it. Where God plants his children, he grows them there. So may you be blessed and be a blessing to many.